Darwin Platform Group of Companies is one of the fastest growing diversified Indian conglomerates with global footprints. It is setting up offices globally and tying up with companies across the globe from multiple sectors. The company has ventured into real estate and construction, stockbroking and finance, arms and ammunition, mining, airlines and many other sectors.
Hello and welcome. You're watching Business Today Television. This is Market Today. I'm Sakshi Batra and with me is Shell Bhatnagar as well. We're starting off the F&O expiry week, which is a truncated week, only 3 days in this week. Joining us is our special guest on the show as well. Dharmesh Kant now joins in. He's the head of equity research from Chola Mandalam Securities. Mr. Kant, very good morning to you. Good to have you with us. First up, help us understand your take on the markets. So far, it's turned out to be the markets are about, especially the Nifty, 600 points away from the record high levels. We're dwindling towards the last part of the January. So what is your own sense?
Yeah, good morning, Sakshi. Good morning, Shalini. I think markets are now digesting the earnings which is flowing in, and particularly if you exclude the IT stocks and BFSI, so more or less earnings have been in line with what the expectation is, barring one or two line item misses. So that is where the consolidation pattern is shaping up for the market, and some rebalancing is also playing out. The only worry point about this market is that market is trading on the higher band of the trajectory, and from here on, what I can gather from sequential earnings kind of a growth, if you look at it, there is hardly any scope of further growth being speeding up or margin getting improved from here. So this is the highest level of growth trajectory which we are seeing, and that will keep some pressure on the profit taking side.
Okay, two picks from your side, Mr. Kant, for today.
See, stocks, I think ICICI Bank is likely to do well because of the relative. And the second one is Kotak Bank, both from the banking space.
Okay, banking space and Kotak Mahindra Bank and ICICI Bank after the earnings, you're betting big on as well. We are now also joined by Brijesh Ale, I believe, who's our other guest on the show from IDBI Capital Markets. He's the head of technical research there. We'll welcome him very shortly as well. But Mr. Kant, before he joins in, your comments on Z, how would you expect Z Entertainment to react after the big news flow yesterday? Mr. Kant?
Yeah, sure. I think some other noise was coming. Okay, that's right. So what I understand is you're asking my take on Z post this deal being called off. So it's a negative for the Z TV as far as it is concerned. I think this calling off by earlier the corporate governance issue was already plaguing the channel, and I don't think the business is picking up in any way. So business front was always a concern. This equity infusion would have helped it, but at the same time, this marks a further murkier thing as far as corporate governance and things are there. So we would like to, stay in a comment from Z, but at the same time, not a positive development for the company.
Okay, 30 seconds to go before the markets to open. Brijesh, very good morning to you. Your top two stock ideas for today.
Is it okay now?
Yes, we can hear you, Brijesh. Please go ahead.
Hello?
Brijesh, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Please go ahead with your top two stock picks for today.
Yeah, morning, madam. So I think one is the MCX and another one is the M&M Finance. So MCX, I think that I'm expecting a range breakout. I can be talking of another 50-60 points as a trading back. And M&M Finance, it's looking very strong, positive on charts. Maybe till the expiry, I think it can go back to 300 levels. So M&M Finance and MCX are the two long bets at the current price.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Let's start paying attention to the market. You have a very nice opening code, 0.75% higher on the Nifty, 21,734. The Bank Nifty is also buzzing about 388 points higher. And it's the IT index actually that's taking it away 1% higher, about 37,100. The Nifty 500 is also in fine shape, about 150 points higher, 19,750. I think there is a new start, a new morning. And fresh energy is flowing into the stock markets after yesterday's Pratishtha at the Ram Temple. Let's just look at the index heavyweights and see what's prompting this very, very strong opening quote. Of course, you have a strong move coming on the IT stocks. Let's look at what Infosys is doing. 1.2% higher, 1670. Let's look at HDFC Bank, still weak. No let up here, 1467, 1011 rupees lower. And let's look at Reliance Industries in the green, a percent higher, 2739. In fact, apart from HDFC Bank, Sakshi, all 9 index heavyweights are in the green, and this is a sign of maturity. Strong moves coming in from overseas markets, and that's helping the Indian tailwind to become stronger and stronger. ICICI Bank is up about 3.3%, 1041. Axis Bank is up about a percent, 1131. And Kotak at 1815 is 0.5% higher. Let's just look at other pain points. Z, terrible, 10% lower. Remember, this is the first circuit filter if you are an FNO stock. And Sakshi, would you believe it? There is a waiting list of 87 crore 99 lakh shares to be sold. There are 0 buyers at the moment as far as Z is concerned, and that's because of the Sony and Z deal being called off. What are the other gainers as far as the FNO space is concerned? Okay, it's taken up by Cipla is the top gainer, 6.5%, record high 1400. Petronet 257, 4% higher. Persistent 4% higher, 82.87. ICICI Bank, Tata Power Grid. Actually, Sakshi, we need to look at the power space because of what Prime Minister Modi has said to put in solar rooftops in 1 crore homes. So it's taking it away. The power sector index is fairly strong. Adani Green 1.1% higher, 1704. NHPC is 3% higher, 83. Yeah. Tata Power is 2% higher, 355. Power Grid is 2.8% higher to 43. All around, you see a fairly strong momentum coming in. Sakshi, what are you watching?
Cipla, Shell, that's the top mover, 6.9% higher after those earnings. It was a top-down beat on the results with revenue, EBITDA, profit, all above estimates as well. And apart from this, a lot of other stocks that are buzzing in trade as well. But this is the stock that I'm watching out for, 6.7% higher. Let me quickly take, Brijesh, your view on Cipla. How would you look at this stock now after the earnings?
I think it has come into a buy setup. It's looking quite positive on charts. There will be a trading as well as positional bet in the Cipla. This momentum can be seen towards the 1500 plus level. So yeah, today's is likely to be held. One should take the positive view in this particular stock.
And Shell, there is no let up in the railway space. I'm now sure that you will cringe your face when I tell you 8.5% higher for IRFC today.
Yes, Sakshi, I have always believed never to argue with price in markets. But, there comes a time when one has to be practical, and we will show the prices on the screen. It is not as if that we have any enmity towards any particular stock or sector. But like I said, advising along at this level after the stock has doubled from, more than doubled. It was 77 rupees, 78 rupees in less than a month ago. So, we will mark it, as Sakshi says, with a cringe on my face. IRFC, 12%, 7% higher, 188. And we will leave the tough task for our panel. We have Brijesh with us. And of course, we have
Mr. Khan.
A lot of action coming in as far as prices are concerned. But what we'll do is, Brijesh, first your view, because the market is open. What do you think of IRFC? And then Dharmeshji will give his fundamental view on this one.
Morning, sir. So as you say, we should not chase the market. I think it would be quite unethical to give the fresh buying at this level. Maybe I'll hold to my view. Somebody's having the railway stock. It is looking decent. So hold the position. Fresh buying cannot be done at this level. Maybe if it moves sideways or if we see some correction, then we'll take the view. But then the view remains positive. Hold your long positions. Don't make the fresh. If somebody wants to take a trading bet, don't take the trading bet right now.
Okay. Dharmesh, your view, sir.
Yes, Angie, I think looking at the stock prices and the way the movement has been, it's a journey to moon for all these stocks. So valuation wise, I think as Brijesh said, if you are holding it, keep on holding it. Almost 3 to 4 years of forward earnings at 20% kind of a CAGR has already been discounted in the stock price in this. It has more to do with, I mean, lack of free float in the market and too many people uh, getting into it. So this is what is drawing the stock price. No need to book profit, but at the same time, I don't think it merits a valuation call to get into a fresh entry.
Right. So, Sakshi, I hope you're happy. We'll mark the other prices also, which are buzzing from the railway space. Apart from IRFC, you have you have the likes of HBL Power 2% higher, 492.95. But a bit of profit booking, Sakshi, now happening on RVNL in particular, 2% lower, 314.70. You have Railtel 8% lower. Remember these two counters, Railtel and Rights, were in the thick of trade on on Saturday, and you had seen a huge momentum coming in, but a much needed round of profit booking happening on Railtel, 7.5% lower, Rights 3.5% lower, IRCTC 2.5% lower. With that, Sakshi, I think we need to mark the solar space. Remember, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said that he would like to see a solar rooftop on 1 crore Indian homes, and that will not only reduce the power bill, but also help the government meet its carbon emission standards. Let's go to both Dharmeshji and Brijesh to find out their top picks in the solar space. Dharmeshji, for you, first, what do you think are the 4 or 5 stocks that would be impacted positively by Prime Minister Narendra Modi's latest initiative?
See, all the companies which are presently, I mean, solar rooftop is a small thing. I mean, it's not a power generation like NTPC or Tata Power, like things like that. And there are too many fragmented players already in this space. So small businesses, ISB units are already doing this job for most of the cities. And I think they are the ones who would be gaining more traction. However, I would like to hear, I mean, it's a work in progress, the bigger players, whether what kind of a trajectory they announce. As of now, they are more interested in a higher, I mean, 1 gigawatt or a 0.5 gigawatt kind of power plant setup. It's not for rooftops, which larger players and the listed player are doing this. So let's see how things develop, and then only we can pick on the larger corporates who are in the listed space if they announce their please or direction of the business going forward.
Okay, two obvious winners, Sakshi, would be Borosil Renewables. I'm just marking the price. It's already 13% higher, 575. And Solar Wilson, SW Solar, 5% higher, which is, I believe, the circuit limit, 528.95. Of course, you have the likes of, power producers like NTPC, SGV, and NHPC, which might be impacted because they'll be buying out power. But these are the two equipment makers. I think we'll also look at Vari Energy as also KPI. These are the two stocks that will also look pretty good. And would you believe it? Vari Renewable Technologies is circuit up at 3008. And the other stock that I had mentioned was, I think, KPI Energy. Let's look at that one. Yes, circuit 1508. Sakshi.
Absolutely. So this entire theme will be, perhaps the theme that we will continue to discuss for days now. Now that the Prime Minister is talking about it, and this theme is likely to have, longer shelf life that we can continue to discuss about as well. But it's the healthcare space that's clearly buzzing. The Nifty Healthcare Index is 1.7% higher in trade. Apart from Cipla that I mentioned, we also have Sun Pharma that's taking higher in trade as well, and a slew of other stocks from the entire basket of healthcare healthcare. Whether it's Max Healthcare, that's 5% up. Upin is up 2% higher. You have Abbott that's moving up. You have Zydus Life Sciences, that was Mayuresh's pick the other day, again taking higher from that day onwards as well. 1.5% higher. Laurus Labs, Dr. Reddy's, all of them buzzing in trade. Brijesh, your own sense of which is the stock that you would see more positively in terms of charts from the healthcare pack now?
I think no. Recently, there was a good amount of buying in Sun Pharma right now at this moment. So I think Sun Pharma can see the breakout of its previous 3-4 days high. So that can be a momentum pick from the current level of 1350. I think easily we can talk of another 25-30 points as a trading bet. So that momentum can be seen in Sun Pharma. That can be kept on our watch list.
Okay. Mr. Khan, your sense, your top bet from the healthcare pack, what would that be?
I mean, earnings have come good. Cipla reported the earnings. It was a really strong kind of earnings which has come through. And the stock prices have also moved, but it's in tandem with how the earnings are shaping up. Normally, Q3 and Q4 are healthy quarters for the, for the society at large. So pharma companies don't do so good. So I think sequentially you won't get much of a traction. But having said that, I think Dr. Reddy's still merit buying in the healthcare space, given the kind of valuation risk reward ratio it enjoys compared to its other space like Aurobindo Pharma or Sun Pharma.
Okay, fair enough.
Sakshi, let's just
yes, sir.
yes, Sakshi, let's just mark the advanced decline ratio for the moment. We've done the first 10 minutes of trade. The market is fairly sensible at the moment. Nifty up 141 points. It's a sea of green, Sakshi, across the board. And we track 19 indices for our viewers, of which 15 are in the green. Pharma, as Sakshi has very diligently pointed out, has already been the top gainer, 1.4% higher, 17,464 on the index. There are 20 stocks in this index, out of which 18 are in the green. And if you look at the list of record highs within the pharma space, they, of course, start with Cipla, and that's 4% higher after strong set of earnings. Sun Pharma, 2% higher, 1351. And we have the likes of Apollo Hospitals, 1.3% higher, 6205. So a sprinkling of good counters. Medanta, 1111, 2% higher. So it's a very strong setup that's started off by Cipla. And on the losing side is, of course, the Nifty Media Index, 3.5% lower, 2287 for you. The culprit being, of course, Z. Let me just see what Z is doing at the moment. Now, Sakshi, Z is still down 10%, 208, but a much needed correction. Ircon is now the top loser in the NSE 500, 11% lower, 237, 238, Sakshi.
Yes, and the other space that's buzzing strongly is the IT space, and of course led by a slew of even mid-cap IT names now, because Persistent Systems, Coforge, they all came out with the earnings, and there's a strong reaction coming in, very strong quarter coming in for Persistent Systems yet again. The declared dividend as well, and a stock split in the offing for the company as well. 4.5% higher for Persistent Systems as of now. Brijesh, first to you, technically explain to us how do you look at the stock, and then I'll take Mr. Khan's view ahead of the stock split. What does he really feel about the stock?
Sakshi, Coforge on its own, it's slightly looking corrective. Its profit booking is what is going on. So there are probability that the stock might come to 6,100, 6,000 mark. If those levels are respected, then I think from the mid-cap space, I think we can keep a watch on it. But right now, I think there's a further damage to a 6,100 level. So we need to keep a watch on this. If only those levels are held, then we may take the further view for the Coforge.
So between Persistent and Coforge, you're going with Coforge as of now?
No, I would take a bet on the Persistent, because Persistence is something which is outperforming. So I would always be keeping a watch on it. And right now it's 5% up. It's a gap up trade, and the reasonable correction would be somewhere to the 8,000 mark. So I think whenever that opportunity is there, I will always take a bet on the Persistent.
Okay, the top mover right now in the F&O space is Persistent Systems, gathering more pace, 5.5% higher, 8361. Mr. Kant, to you, how do you see the earnings that have panned out for the company and the decisions on the stock split that have come about now, and how should viewers be really looking at afresh with this news?
Yes, actually, I think both are welcome because earnings have panned out really well for Persistent System. And if you look at the mid-cap IT companies, the companies which are involved in engineering development side, so they are the ones who are doing better off than the pure vanilla software service providers. So there, I mean, Persistent System, Forge, or Genser Technology all have come out with a good set of numbers. And DLM is another stock which is likely to do well. So my own sense is stock split. See, once a stock goes above 5 or 6,000 kind of per share price level, it becomes difficult for participants, and particularly the retail investors, to get into it. So with the stock split, it's just a theoretical exercise or mathematical exercise in nature, and but it will help further participants to participate by investing into it. So that's a good thing which is happening. It doesn't change anything fundamentally, but having said that, fundamentally, all these mid-cap companies which are into ER&D space have done particularly well, and which was the case earlier as well for IT companies.
Okay, Sakshi, what we'll do is that we are at 9:30. We'll take a very, very quick break. And on the other side, we'll be looking at Z, because the first circuit filter will now be opening still down 10%, 20830. The selling number there is a huge 10 crore 43 lakh 67,000. 20830, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back shortly.
Darwin Platform Group of Companies is one of the fastest growing diversified Indian conglomerates with global footprints. It is setting up offices globally and tying up with companies across the globe for multiple sectors. The company has ventured into real estate and construction, stockbroking and finance, arms and ammunition, mining, airlines, and many other sectors.
In today's rapidly evolving business environment, when risk is omnipresent, managing risks is no longer just about ticking a few boxes. Businesses need to maintain a panoramic view of risks to stay ahead of the curve. Join us to explore how organizations can rethink risk to unlock new possibilities and become fit for future. At PwC presents De-Risking the Future in collaboration with Business Today.
Welcome back. You're watching Market Today on Business Today Television. I'm Sakshi, with me, Shel Bhatnagar. Also with us, our special guests, Dharmesh Kant and Rajesh Ale. Z Entertainment, that's the stock that you need to watch out for. 9.9% down, 208 currently at this point in time. Dharmesh, to you, tell us, this was the news that kept the stock floating for the last 2 years. Of course, it's been a choppy trade, still down about 13.5% odd over the last 2 years. But what are the options that Z will have now in front of us? They've constantly said that Sony was just not willing to go ahead with the merger, despite the fact that Puneet Goenka was willing to step down for the sake of the merger to go through. But, we still do not have a clear indication of what has been the standoff point, because Sony has mentioned in its letter to Z, the termination letter of agreement to Z, that some conditions were not satisfied, and which is why they have not yet gone through with the merger right now. What are the options available for Z at this point in time? They have indicated some legal actions, perhaps.
Options available to them is to find out a new buyer for that. Because standalone basis, it will be very difficult for Z to carry on. And the company, I mean, the new buyer has to come from the same space. So they have to be a bigger player in the media space, then only that synergies are going to play out. And that was the sole purpose why Sony was coming into it. Having said that, for last 2 years, the company has been plagued with many issues, some of them pointing to clear-cut case of corporate governance. So we have, abstaining from commenting or covering this stock. So passively, we do keep a track on how the things are developing, but for recommendation basis, we have stayed away from the company. And I think those issues which were there still persist, and that is the reason why this deal has been called off. That is my opinion on this.
Right. Mr. Kant, but a lot of brokerage houses have given a downgrade and sell rating now after this news flow on Z. CLSA has a 198 target. Citi has an even lower target of 180 rupees order. So, should the stock, fall to that levels, would you be, looking at this stock favorably, or does it, come into the no-go area as of now for any fresh investor?
So I think the question is to me, Sakshi.
Yes.
It's absolutely a no-go area. I mean, earlier also it was a no-go area for last 2, 3 years because just for the news flow and speculations, trades were happening in it. But we have consistently maintained. Maybe if you want to look at media stocks, there's other companies which are available, which are doing fairly well and a more cleaner balance sheet. So a no-go for me, absolutely.
Okay, what we'll do is we'll wait for the circuit to open and then probably revisit Z again. Sakshi has rightly pointed out that there is a series of fairly bearish brokerage reports on Z. Well, this is how it is stacked at the moment. Bhagwan hai aapke samne 10% Z 20830. Actually, let's just pay attention to some stocks in the all-time high list and take a view. There is low ticket high beta item called Karur Vyasa Bank. To you, Brijesh, although the counter is up 8.5% and a record high, what are the charts telling you? We generally focus on stocks that are below 200 rupees because that allows a lot of viewers to participate. Brijesh, your view on Karur Vyasa?
Sir, the moment it's in uptrend, so basically the trend and the momentum both are positive. So I think this momentum is likely to get continued. On an immediate basis, there was a range breakout of 150, 170, 20 points range breakout is seen. So we can, from the current, I think we can bet for another 20 point. That can be a trading bet. So it's a positive bet. The stop loss, so anybody who's having a long position, I think 160 should be the base. So with that low as a stop loss, one should hold the long position.
Okay. And Sakshi, another stock that's doing really well in the space of hotels is Lemon Tree, record high, 4.5% higher, 140. In fact, a lot of hotel stocks are in the pink of health today. EIH Hotels, 10% higher, and earlier trade, a strong move coming in on Chalet as well as Brijesh, your view on Lemon Tree, and then we'll throw the same question to Dharmesh.
So it's a fundamental pick. We are extremely bullish on this counter. We are talking of 220 levels over the next couple of months. So we are extremely bullish. So whenever there is any correction or any sideways consolidation, we always hunt for the buying opportunity. It's one of our fundamental pick in our company. So 220 is what we are looking in the medium to long term on an immediate basis. So it's definitely a buy.
Okay.
Dharmesh, would you have a view on Lemon Tree?
I mean, the entire space is looking very attractive. Post-COVID, the type of turnaround which we have seen in all the hotel industry is here to stay. And tourism in its various forms is picking up. Now the religion tourism is also picking up. But my own sense is the way if you travel across the length and breadth of the country, even overseas, so the Indians are now picking up on the quality of life which they were not doing earlier, and this has more to do with the higher disposable income. So wherever you go across the globe, you will find quite a good number of Indians who are spending on the tourism, and this is in the domestic case as well. So my own sense is that valuation-wise, one may argue for 2 year or 3 year kind of a perspective that the valuations look so bit stretched, but that is not the scenario. What I see is 20-25% CAGR for the next 10 years to continue for the hotel industry. And room rates, if you look at it, all have gone up by 30-40% already. And from international prices for five stars, it's still 40% away from where the room rates are in the five stars. So overseas, so that catch up is also will play out in next couple of years time frame. So as a basket, if you're buying Indian hotels, Lemon Tree, and the others in the play, you will always be better off from an investment perspective. Time horizon being 3 to 5 years at least.
Okay. One more stock that's moving up very, very sharply from the FNO, from the Nifty 500 basket is the Asahi India Glass stock. I think it's about 12% higher in trade right now, 605. And this is a glass manufacturer. So I'm guessing that this also move has to do with the, power and the solar power kind of news that's coming about with the kind of opportunities that the stock can get. Brijesh, do you have a view on this stock?
It has given a volume breakout and there has been a divergence in this particular counter, but the confirmation will only come at the day end. So right now from the day's high, there has been a profit booking. The stock has come down. For example, let's say during the end of the day, if it stays at the day's high, then this can be one of the probable trading positional bet from 15-20, another 20-25% kind of a bet. In the first scenario, it has given the reversal, so that confirmation is needed. 640 levels, so the day's high. If the close is close to near day's high, then I would definitely take the long position in this counter.
Okay, a lot of other counters that are buzzing in this space. So let me just mention a few of them as well. So apart from this, we have GSPL that's moving up 3.3% higher. Hotel stocks already mentioned by Shell. So all of them are up. EIH, Charlotte Hotels, they're all up in trade. Some of the banking names, IDBI Bank, 5% higher in trade. Indian Overseas Bank, that's up in trade. So some of these banking names, the lower rung names that are coming up in trade as well. You also have Blue Dart that's moving up, Gujarat Ambuja Exports. These are some of the other stocks that are moving up as well. Of course, healthcare space that I talked about, you have now Global Health that's moving up in trade. Housing finance companies, fertilizer names, FACT is moving up in trade, and of course the shipping names again. So Cochin Shipyard, Great Eastern Shipping Company, they're all buzzing in trade yet again as well. Let me take your view, Mr. Kant, on the shipping company. We've discussed this space far and wide as well. Anything afresh that you spot from the shipping space that you still like?
Again, Sakshi, I would recommend a basket buy on the stocks rather than sticking
Okay.
to an individual stock idea. And going into this defense space, particularly on the naval side, things are still to play out in a bigger way as they have been playing out in, say, for aerospace, for companies like HL. So Cochin Shipyard or Majgaon Dock looks attractive to me. But again, these all are long-term plays, not be in a hurry for say 3 months or 6 month time before gives. If you're willing to wait for 3 to 5 years, all these are still a value buy at current levels.
The issue, I think, is that a lot of stocks have run up very sharply over the last 6 months. And any fundamental analyst or technical analyst would be loath to give a buy at these, stretched prices. It becomes actually very difficult to sort of justify a 40-50% rally and then trying to get into it, unless you are a superb momentum chaser, or you're able to hold the stock for a very long while. We've been discussing Cochin Shipyard from so many weeks and months, and truth be told, it's not disappointed anybody who's held on or anybody who's traded on the long side. But like I said, in markets, it pays to be safe rather than sorry.
Absolutely, Shell. Very well put over there. So caution needs to be advised wherever it's needed, but at the same time, the space is still in the buzzing zone, and ready for all our viewers to continue to be, abreast of all these situations too. Let's look at some of the other spaces that are moving up. British, one stock that I want you to look at is from the oil and gas basket, particularly the gas space, and Petronet LNG. That's the one that's moving up in the FNO space, 5% higher right now. How do you look at this stock amidst the entire space?
We are talking of LNT, right?
Petronet LNG.
Fine. So
That's trading 5.6% higher, 260.6.
Sakshi, this has been a gap up trade, and I think ahead of this monthly expiry, there was a lot of call writers when they are active at 260 price. So I think that call writing position is getting unwinded. So maybe during the day, if we closes about 260, I think there will further momentum will be there for the next 2 days. So I think the specifically Petronet LNG, the call writers, the positions are getting unwinded. So 260 closes quite it's very important. About 260, I think 270, 275 can be seen in next 2 days.
Okay, got that. Yes, Shel.
Yes, actually, I think we've had the first half an hour of trade. Let's just mark the winning positions as far as the Nifty is concerned. Of course, you've highlighted the very strong show by Cipla, Sun Pharma, Dr. Reddy's. So pharma is at the top spot. And actually, what's really well is that we were wondering when will HDFC Bank resume its responsibilities to be the highest weighted index stock both in the Nifty and the Bank Nifty. Well, it's showing no signs, but the lead is now taken up by ICICI Bank. This is something that we should discuss with Brijesh. Brijesh, would you have a view on this one? It's the top banking gainer today in the Nifty as well as the FNO space, 3% higher, 1038. Fairly strong momentum coming in.
Yeah, right, sir. But then this is again a FNO space and the banking space. 1050 mark is the multiple resistance zone. So I'm not that sure whether this 1050 level will be taken out, at least for this week. So I'm slightly cautious. There has been a distribution in the ICICI Bank from the morning opening. So I think 1050 is going to act as a resistance. Only if 1050 is taken out, then I think there can be a further short covering. But right now, one has to be cautious and keep a watch on 1050 level.
Okay. The one stock that I wanted to take, Dharmesh, your view before we let you go is Bharti Airtel. 3% higher right now at 1156. This stock has come back into momentum over the last month or so. How would you really look at afresh in this stock? Is there an opportunity here that one should be scouting for?
See, actually, this is now a duopoly space, and what is the differentiating factor between Jio platform and Bharti Airtel has been the ARPU. So Bharti has been able to manage ARPU up to 204, 205, whereas Jio is still languishing at around 184, 85. And at the same time, they have been gaining customer and broadband market share. So this is what is aiding to Bharti. And in such kind of a space when you don't have multiple choices and Jio is still under Reliance Industries, so multiple other factors come into play. So any allocation, new fresh money, I mean, lot of fresh money is flowing into the SIPs as a mutual fund. And if they have to allocate to telecom space, this is the only choice they have got with them as of now. So this will keep liquidity push will keep the flow up. Valuation wise, it's priced to perfection. No margin of error is expected, but at the same time, I think momentum is going to be there in this company. So keep holding it. Fresh entry if you want to take, and if you have a horizon of 3 to 6 months, one can easily do so. I mean, 10 to 15% kind of upside is likely to be there, and that's the annualized upside I am looking at this counter for next 3 years perspective.
Okay, well, with that, thank you so much, Mr. Kant,
Thanks.
for being with us on the show and sharing with us all of these ideas. Good to have you with us always. Brijesh, tossing the same question to you on Bharti Airtel. How are the technicals placed? Is this a fresh entry point for investors?
Yeah, I think the stock has done pretty well. So this momentum is likely to continue at least for the next couple of days. So I think Bharti can go back to 1200, 1250 over a period of time. So it looks quite positive on chart. There is no reversal or no base immediate support levels, which I think it will be breached. So I'll keep betting on the higher side. 1200 would be the close to 1200 would be immediate target for the Bharti Airtel.
Okay, all right. And record levels being seen on Bharti Airtel right now, 3% higher at 1157. Shell, what else would you be looking at?
Sakshi, I never sort of tire myself in repeating that there is a crisis of plenty. We are looking at volume buzzers now, stocks that are rising on fairly sharp volumes and make sense even to look at technically in this point of time. So we'll start with the Nifty 50. Sakshi, already Cipla in the first half an hour has passed its 5-day trading average volume. It's now 1.44 times the 5-day average. About 21 lakh 80,000 shares have been traded as you read this price, 1398, 6.5% higher. Again, ICICI Bank, I never fail to mark this stock. One time volume in the first half an hour of trade, 1 crore 53 lakh shares traded, 1039. You've marked Bharti. Volume is about 0.8 times already in the first half an hour trade. And this is one stock that we need to check with Brijesh. Apollo Hospitals, record high 62.25, Brijesh, 1.7% higher. What are the charts telling you, sir? Is it overheated, or is it fairly in sync with its longer term averages?
So yeah, from the FNO expiry point of view, I think it's in a overbought zone. So there has been a distribution in today's trading session. So slight correction is expected. But anywhere, whenever it fills the gap close to 6,000, close to 6,000 level mark, I think that's again a buying opportunity. Directionally, we are having quite positive view on the Apollo Hospital. From maybe expiry point of view, there can be slight profit booking can be seen.
That's the point as far as prices are concerned. Nifty IT index is actually, we need to mention this one. This is the top gaining index, now 1.7% higher. Remember, this has been a blowout when it comes to the rally. 37, 372. We are at the highest level since 15th of April. And of course, the all-time high on this index is 39,446. Everything in the IT space is moving in sync with how it should have. Persistence actually now up 10%. This is the pre-split rally that you're seeing, 87.13. Tech Mahindra 2% higher. TCS from the index heavyweight stable 1.6% higher. And of course, no let up in Coforge, no let up in HCL Tech. Infosys is 1% higher. And all these moves are coming on substantial open interest. If you see how open interest has moved, particularly in the case of Persistent. It's persistently higher, 34% higher as far as OI is concerned. And that's true for TCS. You normally don't see a 5% uptick in open interest in TCS in the first hour of trade, but it's happening. 1.6% higher in terms of futures at about 39.25. This is also fairly close to a record high, and Infosys 1% higher, 1666. And the open interest is about 8.5% higher. Sakshi, 953, what are you watching?
The auto stocks again, Shell, some of those, especially the two-wheeler ones, are moving in trade. We have Hero Moto, that's 1.8% higher. We have TVS Motors, that's also moving up in trade. Bajaj Auto is 1% up right now at 71.71. Eicher Motors, that's 0.5% higher in trade again. So some more buying ticks coming in. Brijesh, to you, is this a rally that will sustain? Because every time we've actually seen the auto companies come, there's just a few days of momentum and then the rally really fizzles out. What do you really see on the charts when it comes to the two-wheeler names?
I think auto was the one space which initially started to perform, and everything at the end of the number, when the numbers are going to come, they do see some momentum. But we are positive on Hero Honda and Bajaj Auto. So whenever there is opportunity, we will definitely taking a long positions. Maruti and Tata Motors from the four-wheeler space, and Bajaj and Hero Motoco from the two-wheeler space. We are extremely bullish on this counter.
Okay.
Sakshi, another price point that I'd like to check. You had marked Petronet LNG some while ago. Just a point here. Again, a blowout here. 2 times the 5-day average. Already 1 crore shares have traded on Petronet LNG. We've already marked the price and the chart. Let's see something interesting. I'm looking at buyers only in a space which is fairly strong, and that's the mid-cap 100 space. No surprises, persistent circuit at 10%. We have Gensol circuit at 5%, 892.10. There are some names that I don't want to take on air, and we'll leave it at that as far as the NSE mid cap 100 list is concerned, let's look at the NSE 500 and some names that should be here worth talking about on air. Well, let's avoid them. Now let's look at 52-week highs. These are stocks in strong momentum and doing particularly well. Some of them we've already marked. Let's look at IRB, 3% higher, 50 rupees, 75%, 75. Tata Power, 355.80, almost 3% higher. We have marked Apollo and Medant. What else? Pretty much we've marked everything, unless and until you want to see Bikaji Foods, 584, 19.35% higher, and Birla Soft, 816.35, 1.5% higher. The dying moment as far as this show is concerned. What are you looking forward in terms of the February FNO expiry? We are on 23rd of Jan. And of course, we have a major event on 1st Feb. Interim budget as it may be, but still a major event. Your topics for the FNO space in the medium term, say a month from now, as far as the Feb expiry is concerned.
Sir, I think if I look from the Feb point of view, so there's a good amount of long built up in the IT space. So definitely that would be one. And after that, there will be power generation and distribution. This is one sector which I will be taking a view on. Power Grid and Tata Power. These are the two strong bets which are seeing a very good long built up for the FF series. So that power stocks. And then once the power is done, then there is a gas distribution. In that particularly NGL and Gujarat Gas. So these are the two stocks which right now I think easily focus and say that this should be the probable outperformer in the bank in the next series as well. So power space, gas distribution should be kept on your watch list.
Actually, there's no let up from PSU stocks. Power is dominated by PSUs. And of course, the other energy space that Brijesh has mentioned, there's no escaping it. No matter how hard we try not to mark stocks, no matter how hard we try to, put traders and investors in, a good faith that stop loss is your best friend. Be cautious, but the market is not listening at all. Yours, Sakshi, what are you watching?
Well, Shell, if we look at, there is actually profit booking that's happening in the broader markets from the higher levels. There are only 3 or 4 sectors that are holding up their ground, of course, led by a very strong move on the healthcare pack today, now up 2.5% at day's high, Nifty Healthcare Index. And of course, this must be closer to those record levels too. Nifty IT about 1.5% up in trade. You have autos that are up by 0.5%, FMCG consumer durables, but it's the metals, the Nifty bank also that slipped slightly into the red. And that's what is leading to some kind of a pressure building up. The private banks also flattish with a negative bias at this point in time. You have both the broader market indices, the mid cap and the small caps that have drifted lower as well. You also have the PSU banks that have now come into the red. Metals are down in trade as well. Brijesh, what are you making of this profits being taken off the table? What would that indicate for the Nifty bank and the financial services on the expiry date?
If I look at the option chart, then I think there is, I'll just figure it out. Yeah. So right now, I think from the options point of view, 46,000 level, I think maybe broken. There is a slight positions are getting unwinded. So I expect this bank Nifty close to be below 46,000. So not extremely, not too much of positive bet on the bank Nifty. Maybe in the second half, if I would probably take some of the put trades if 46,000 levels are broken down.
Okay, fair enough. Well, on that note, thanks a lot, Brijesh, for being with us through this show and helping us navigate through all the momentum that we are looking at this point in time as well. Let's start winding down the market for this session. The Nifty Bank slipping into the red at this point in time, but Nifty at 100 points up in trade, 0.5% higher, 21,675. You have the healthcare index that's clearly in the buzzing zone, so we'll continue to watch out for stocks like Cipla, Sun Pharma, Dr. Reddy's, all of them that are buzzing in trade from the Nifty back. Then you have the IT names like TCS, Infosys, Tech Mahindra, all of them buzzing in the top movers as far as the Nifty is concerned. And apart from that, there is Bharti Airtel. That's another one mover from the top Nifty 50 stocks today. ICICI Bank after the earnings, strong move over there. Upgrades coming in from a lot of brokerage houses over there, 3.2% higher for this one. The power space, like Shell has mentioned, and of course the solar power names, we have to continue to watch out for these stocks as well. They're all in the buzzing zone. So your power grid, NTPC, these stocks that are buzzing up in trade as well. Healthcare, IT, and the auto space, the three sectors that are continuing to move up from the Nifty 500 basket. Borosil, Asahi Glass, you have Aegis Logistics, LG Equipment, Chalet Hotels, EIH as other movers in trade. From the F&O action, Persistent Systems that tops the charts, 10% higher, followed by Petronet, LNG, and of course Cipla and Sun Pharma. Anything else, Shell, that you'd like to point out before we wind down the edition?
Yes, Sakshi, I think there is a much needed correction that's happening in the railway space. And these are prices that I'll mark with some degree of, how should I say, relief that finally sense is prevailing. This will actually result in newer players coming into these stocks. So IRCON, ladies and gentlemen, is 11% lower, 237. Remember, all these stocks are now correcting from their record highs. RVNL 9% lower to 91.50. We have RIGHTS 6.9% lower, 584.50. We have a strong corrective rally happening in IRFC 168.64% higher, and IRCTC 4% lower, 981. This is as far as the Sarkari railway space is concerned, and it's also caught up with wagon makers. Texrail, Texmaco Rail, now 7% lower to 201.65. Titagarh, 4% lower, 1132. This is a welcome relief, Sakshi, and it prompts people to exit, book profit, feel very happy about it, and it also welcomes newer players in a sector that's buzzed very well over the last 1 month or so. Sakshi.
Absolutely. And with that, we will wrap up this special edition for all our viewers, but we will continue to mark out important stocks, through the course of this day, and we will see you at closing trades to help you really navigate through this day's trade towards the end of this as well. Many thanks, Shell, for being with us, and see you soon on the other side.
Darwin Platform Group of Companies is one of the fastest growing diversified Indian conglomerates with global footprints. It is setting up offices globally and tying up with companies across the globe from multiple sectors. The company has ventured into real estate and construction, stockbroking and finance, arms and ammunition, mining, airlines, and many other sectors.
In today's rapidly evolving business environment, when risk is omnipresent, managing risks is no longer just about ticking a few boxes. Businesses need to maintain a panoramic view of risks to stay ahead of the curve. Join us to explore how organizations can rethink risk to unlock new possibilities and become fit for future. At PwC presents De-Risking the Future in collaboration with Business Today.